All right. Nicole, thank you so much for being here. Should I call you Nicole or should I call you Blue? I don't know.
Blue, for sure.
Blue. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Watch Us Thrive. So honored to have you. You're such a powerhouse. We connected. Shout out to Bren J. We were both speakers at her summit, and just the minute that I came across you and just heard about you and, learned more about you and your story, it's such an honor to have you here first and foremost. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Same, same, same. You're powerful, and I'm honored to come there and have a good conversation with you.
Yes, absolutely. So let's start off with an introduction for anyone who may be meeting you for the first time. I would love for you to share in your own words who is Nicole, aka Blu Nile.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I am a spiritual being in a meat suit. Okay. I'm a human, but I am an artist. I'm a healer. I'm a professional artist for the past 20 plus years, but I'm a healer. I'm a coach. I am a Reiki master. I'm an author. I'm a channel of the divine. I am a guide for a lot of people. I teach yoga, breath work, meditation. Through my shamanic trainings and healings, I also help people do a lot of transformation. So people who are ready to heal and deal and transform their life, like I help people level up in that emotional, holistic way, emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual way.
Yes, absolutely. And I know the person that you are today compared to who you were in your past is two completely different people. And I would love to dive deep into more about you and your story before you became the person that you are today. So, every guest that comes on, we always talk about childhood. I really feel like a lot of the things that we experienced during that time period, it really shapes us, especially as we turn into adults. So you go as far, as deep, as superficial as you're comfortable with, but I would love for you to talk about what your life looked like growing up.
Yeah, 100. I was born in Boston, moved to New York, and moved to Los Angeles from New York. My mother was a single parent. I met my dad at 8 years old. She chose some street life. Well, I don't know if she chose it, but unfortunately, she was turned out real young. I was violated by her pimps that lived with us, so therefore I wrote a book called Trauma Thriver, hence that. And I put my little girl on the cover because as a child, I was a bit traumatized, silent. Luckily, I have music in my bones and I started creating from a little child. And thank God I had my Nana. So from the projects in Boston, and I got signed in high school, and that's when they started putting. I was on tour with like Ja Rule 112 and Dave Hollister, and they were putting ecstasy in the champagne bottles, and that's how my drug life started. So, and my mom did her cocaine and all that stuff and all that. And when I met my dad, he was also doing that. And rest my dad's soul, my dad died in 2011 from addiction. Hence why I am in recovery now. And in high school, it was fast little bit of fame and stuff, but again, because I had that addiction in my family and I was running from a lot of trauma, that I help a lot of people now who have that, what is it, high sustainable, like you're just running and you can have a high tolerance for pain, because that's where I was at. And until I had a nervous breakdown at the age of 20, because it was all trapped inside. I didn't have anybody safe, even though my Nana was my safe. Thank God I had her. She just passed a little over a year ago, but I had nowhere to go with it because I had no emotional guidance. And as a black girl, mixed race, Afro Caribbean, like I just in the music industry, I was already being sexualized, traumatized, like had a lot of stuff happening. So basically, I went silence. And when they put the ecstasy in the champagne bottles, it was off to the races, yo. I was like, why do I finally feel free? Oh, because I'm on ecstasy. And I vowed I would never do cocaine because I saw my mom doing it, and it just was so messy, and I just did not want to be her. God bless her. I forgive her. She did her best. But I tell my story in a radically honest way because I hope that my story can free somebody else. I'm strictly spirit made. I'm really grateful for my connection to higher power. I knew that spirit had my back and humans had it wrong. I don't know how. That's why I've always been a clear audience, just clear cognizance, which is the deep knowing. I know spirit, I see auras. That's my psychic intuitive stuff that I also have, which I started to drink and use to numb because I'm a highly sensitive empath. And I like to be a recovered empath, like one of my teachers, Miriam Husna, says, but I don't have that. When I was living alone and it wasn't married yet and didn't have a child, I could be that. But now I don't got time for 8 hours of spiritual work a day. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So like trying to condense it. Yeah. So that's the first 20 years, some fame, a nervous breakdown and restarting and moving to New York.
So can we go a little more depth into the nervous breakdown? Like, was that the turning point for you when you were like, all right, some shit has got to change? Like, how did that start off your personal development journey?
100%. No, I knew it. I knew it had to change. And honestly, so I found like I was telling a story the other day. I was like I was in Staten Island with Wu Tang, like some random, and their manager handed me a book by Gary Zukov, and it said "The Seat of the Soul." Right. This is how God spirit would show up. And I'm spiritual, not religious. I study all the 450 plus religions, but love is my religion. Just to get it clear to everybody out there, when I'm talking about spirit, it's spirituality, and it would come through people. And I love books. I'm a nerd. I'm a writer, and first and foremost, I wrote my way out. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I would get nuggets, and I had to move though, 3,000 miles away. It wasn't until I finally got on this California land, because I'm such an East Coaster, being a Bostonian, then a New Yorker. Like I don't know like that, just fast paced, like boom, 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 ready, 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 survival mode. Not until I could get into my body, because I was truly stuck in a trauma response of disassociation. High functioning is what I'm talking about. High functioning, which God rest my friend Twitch Soul. He just took his life in December. Super high functioning person. No one knew he was battling. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm just a performer. So like I could do it, but then I would get these people. Like I loved yoga. I went to my first yoga class. And then it's like my soul I already knew. So I was on a spiritual journey, but not until I got to the West Coast land could I finally get into my body to really embody it and really start the training and sit in front of my teachers, where at the same time we're like, you're a healer, so I'm going to heal you. I'm going to teach you how to heal yourself, but you're a healer. You need to wake the F up and get it together, because you got so much work to do and you don't even know what you're meant to do. And I'd be like, what you talking about?
Absolutely. I want to ask you, because you are someone who didn't allow your circumstances to define who you are, right? And I feel like a lot of people tend to live in that victim mindset that, like, everything's happening to me and I can never get out and blah, 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 blah. And you are the epitome of someone who's been able to transform your life. So, what would you say to that person who is currently in their storm, right? They're currently in their season of like just shit on top of shit, and they really want to make this move, but they can't. They feel like they can't. What would you tell that person?
First thing I would say is just find some faith, find some hope. Like, know that you can't do it alone. So, if you can pray for the willingness to get the willingness to ask one person to help you, and just to be honest with one person that's outside of your brain, don't believe your thoughts, don't believe your feelings. Yes, feelings are valid, but feelings are not facts. So, don't make a decision based on a feeling that will pass in just 24 hours. Please, please don't. And tell somebody else, like tell someone else your ideas or your feelings. And I know that's so hard for some people. And then there's so many free hotlines in the 12-step communities. I am an advocate. For a couple dollars a donation, you get free group therapy. Okay. 12 steps have saved my life, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm an advocate for it. It's that willingness to save your life versus saving your face. You know what I'm saying? Set aside the ego, set aside all that, and just please talk to another human, preferably a human that has something that you want, with emotions and spiritual, not physical, not the bag, not the money, not the looks, not that. Like that has some emotional intelligence, spirituality. Even if you go to a botanica, you know what I'm saying? Talk to that person that owns that botanica. You go to the corner store, you see someone got a cross on, be like, yo, like this, like that. You know what I mean? Like asking for help is the hardest thing. And then finding that outside help, therapy, 12-step programs, like just don't give up. Please don't end your life off of something like the difference of 24 hours makes. 24 hours. I feel yesterday I was over something. Like I have technology resistance, and I'm like, stop that. Get out of that. Let that go. I have no, you know what I mean? No, it's a difference of 24 hours makes. I pray for the willingness to be willing to just evolve in the present moment. You know what I mean? And that has that faith, to build some faith. Walk into a church, you know what I mean? A non-denominational, something that, because I feel that church trauma too. But like people are here. There are good humans. Try to look at the good, even if you got zero of it.
Mm. Yeah, I swear, I could just listen to you talk all day, because every
Oh,
time you speak, it's like you have this way with words, but it's so powerful with the message that you put out there into the world. I really resonate a lot with you talking about speaking up and asking for help, and how there's a lot of resistance, because when I think about me and my situation that you knew about from the summit, when I first told someone, that's when the healing started, when I let go of that shame and that guilt and that embarrassment. That being vulnerable is scary as fuck, right? it's terrifying to put yourself out there, but that can really change your life in such a profound way by just speaking up.
100%. And like reaching out to us, like you listening to this podcast, so you have access to technology, right? So DMing somebody, coming into my DMs, coming into your DMs, or anybody, you never know. And everybody's listening, everybody's watching. Truly, you in a comment, like people that care, and we care. It's hard. Like, don't let yourself be the reason that you aren't moving. Like keeping yourself trapped in a cage. You know what I mean? Like breaking free from the bondage of self. You know what I'm saying? Like that liberation of the mind, that we can be free. Because I believe that, just like I studied Joe Dispenza and all this neuroscience, like neuroplasticity, I changed my mind. Like I'm a miracle. Like thank you for seeing me and knowing like I am the epitome of changing my
Yes.
life. I came from the projects in Boston. My nana's my God bless. My nana was in the projects. She's passed now, but my mom is still there. You know what I mean? And now I'm here. And how I could stay in the victim story. I don't have no family. I don't have this. I'm a woman. I'm gay. I'm black. I'm queer. I'm da 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 da. Like I let go of that old story. Of true course, trust it creeps up,
Right.
but I snatch it out quickly. And I don't believe my brain when it lies to me. The mind is a liar. And I know that self doubt, that self deprecation is a lie. It wants to see me trapped. So then but I done enough studying and read enough books and got enough help to know to insert positive spiritual value, love, compassion, trust, empathy, faith, not no negative darkness. They want us to feel. The system is set up for that, especially my people of color. Come on, we can't let them win.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, she is preaching. I'm getting chills. Oh, I knew this was going to be a powerful conversation, but god damn.
Let's go there. Let's go to church, y'all. Let's go
Yes,
to
we are
church.
here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so you picked yourself up and literally moved across the country to really get away and to set those boundaries with the people that you had in your life. And I think starting over is scary as fuck. And I think that's something that a lot of people shy away from because they're comfortable with what they know, they're comfortable with the people around them. Talk a little bit more about how impactful it was for you to really block all that shit out and say, fuck it, I'm going to do this for me, and why it's so important that we do set boundaries with people in our lives.
Boundaries is my favorite word. Honestly, until I went to therapy, my dad died. I came and he died a year into me moving into Los Angeles. And I went to therapy. And then the therapist gave me a sheet on boundaries. And so then I started to learn. And number one thing, I had to tell my mother about what happened to me when I was little, which is really hard, y'all. And especially my people out there, who are recovered, surviving from trauma, and maybe stuck in the victim place. Like, I get it, just like you shared, like using your voice for the first time. So me telling my mother what happened, because she didn't know, because it happened to me when she left me. She wasn't ever there. She was dancing at the strip club or whatever, doing whatever she was doing. But she left me with these unsafe people, and things happened. And I was scared to tell her because she always tried to take her life. So I was parentified. It was inappropriate. So when I finally told her, and then I blocked her. I blocked her for 6 months because her process was not my process. She has a higher power. I had to trust that I was not, you know what I mean? So I tell that story just to say, like, if something has happened to you, say it, and you got to get it out. At first, it came out as anger, and at first I had to say what I said. I said what I said, and I had to get my soul back. You know what I'm saying? And apologize later, of course. If it was disrespectful. But guess what? Sometimes it has to come out the way it has to come out. And if it wasn't for music, I wouldn't have moved 3,000 miles away. Like, music saved my life, and I had a passion, and I knew that I belonged out here. And I'm just so grateful that I took that chance and that opportunity. Because then once I got to this land, I realized it had nothing to do. Yes, music, of course, I've done so much. I've had so much success, but it's about saving my life and getting out of that fast pace of the East Coast life that was killing me, because I'm a highly sensitive. So it's so deep. It's so deep, but it's about my willingness to go to therapy and my willingness to move, like my willingness to know that I was trapped in some stuff that I did not like. So number one, being in my body, right? Learning how to be in my body and being like, yo, what am I feeling? Do I like my surroundings? Am I happy with this, with the way things are going, with the people in my life or my friends? Is it reciprocity? I was surrounded. I was like, I don't like any of this. So boom, I left New Boston, went to New York, but I have that self-starter in me. So like, some you have to, if you feel like you don't have that self-starter, you have to manifest it. We can create it. Create a new hat, put that hat on until I embody it.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious to know because you did talk about your mother, and I wonder if you ever had any feelings of resentment towards her or any feelings of like, it was your fault of what happened to me. Did you ever have that kind of thought process? And how were you able to heal the mother wound that I'm sure you had between her?
Absolutely. And I have just in my recent years, I'm 40, just to put things in time perspective for y'all. So the stuff that happened from 7 years old, 3 years old, my whole life, and then the nervous breakdown at 20. And then that's when things really changed because she fed me. She was high functioning. Like that's what I say a lot to my wife. And my wife is like, stop making excuses, you know? And I'm like, but I could have went into the system. I could have went into the system. She's like, stop. DSS came many times, but my mom finagled it. I do adult children's of dysfunctional family, which is a 12-step program, learning how to become my own loving parent and learning that I'm a child of the universe, my cosmic mother. Becoming a mother has helped me a lot with that. But I've also been doing this as a Reiki master and as a gangster shaman.
Yes.
I'm not I'm not a shaman because it's not generational. I laugh at that because I do shamanic work and I work with shamans and I am initiated from the street life. I get to do soul retrieval and with Reiki, the universal life force energy, I channel this energy and as a channel, I channel and I go back and I heal from the womb, me as an embryo and me before as a spirit choosing my parents because I have a very spiritual philosophy about life. I know that I chose this. I know that her only purpose, sadly, was to have me and put me through everything so that I could go through everything and relate to every freaking human on this planet and be the powerful, impactive person that I am today that I get to use and pray to God that it multiplies and I get to help and inspire as many people as I can. I've had that clarity, so I've done a lot of work. I can only talk to her when I'm not in that needing of a mother, father, because it's healthy, it's appropriate until 80s. People there, we need our mom and dad our whole life. So I can't talk to her when I'm in that needing of a mother. She's like a sister. So I had to do a lot of work and learn how to have boundaries. That's called boundaries. And I pray for her. I pray for her healing. I pray for her for real because I do by judgment was like if I resent somebody, I pray to forgive them. So I pray that they're healed and they have everything that I wish they have, which takes being a bigger person and just choosing the forgiveness.
Absolutely. And that's definitely not easy. It definitely comes with the journey of healing from trauma and having that growth mindset to like have compassion for someone, even though they may have hurt you in the past. So I appreciate you for sharing that.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit about going to therapy and Reiki and all of these things. What other tools or resources have helped you on your personal development journey? And also, like, there's so much shit out there when it comes to healing from trauma. What would be your advice for someone who's like so overwhelmed and doesn't even know where to get started?
The first part, again, like yoga is something that I know everybody's not into. Working out, physically getting outside. If you're from the East Coast, like I can go to a yoga studio, but like Central Park was like where I went to nature. So now in California, it's a different idea. I can go hiking and I can get outside, but you can go outside and walk around your block. Kind of go and listen to your favorite music and looking at the sky. There is an overwhelming amount of opportunity, like things and that you can dive into, but again, it's reading the book, whatever your soul, everybody has inspired action. So whatever speaks to your soul, if it's Enyan Levenzan, if it's me, if it's like Louise Hay, you can heal your life. Like looking in the self-help section in the book, you know what I mean? Like that's how it begins, and you read something and you look nowadays podcasts, right? So you get you listen to these podcasts and then what's the next step? So it's like either going to the gym or going to yoga, like physical, right? Or getting a therapist. Like again, the stuff that we're talking about. Yoga was my first, like I was baptized 3 times. I was in many churches and I would call all of them out because I'm queer. And I would write letters to the pastors and be like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're reading this wrong. This is not what Jesus said. Like, what? And you talking about? Like, what? And not even in a mad way. They were just crickets, crickets. I'm
Right.
infamous. I'm a disruptor, crickets. So when I found yoga, I was like, oh, Tibetan philosophy, and it was Sanskrit, this first language, my world cracked open, and so did my body. So the body keeps score. So I suggest please go take a yoga class because you can breathe and get your body open so that your body can tell you the secrets it has for you, and you can even if you're tight and you got a tight ass, like loosen up, like, you know what I'm saying, doing some African movement, just dancing, just bouncing, doing that emotional freedom technique, tapping. But a lot of people in the East Coast, because I'm a recovered East Coaster, okay? I'm still an East Coaster. I can snap back in a second, okay? It's hard to get into your body, so you need something putting elastic around your wrist and start snapping it when that negative thought comes. Literally snap that shit and hurt yourself so you can be like, "Wait, wait, wait. I need to wake the fuck up." And go get yourself. I am a holistic life coach. I am a spiritual coach. For me, spirituality, I'm beyond human aid. I had to find a spirit. I had to find faith. I had to find trust. And I could only trust spirit because I had so much trust issues. So I built a faith that was, beyond human aid.
Oof, absolutely. Y'all, if you're looking for someone to work with, I highly recommend Blue. She will get you all the way together in the best way possible. So thank you so much for sharing that. So, what advice would you share with my audience when it comes to learning how to thrive despite the trauma that we may have experienced? How can one actually thrive through trauma? I mean, you have a whole book that's, called Trauma Thriver, and I
I
would love to know,
do.
yes, and talk about that a little bit too.
See my little travel thriver.
Yes, I love it.
So I always want to say, like, first of all, there's no you can't bypass where you are. Okay. And now I'm speaking from the healed place. So when you're like, yeah, that sounds cute. Yeah, I know. If you're over there, I was not always here. I'm 40 years old now, and I've been doing this spiritual studies for 20 years. Okay. And in practice fully the past 13 years. It takes time. I was a victim for so long because of yes, for real, victim of countless things. So then I decided that I don't want to be a victim. I'm sick of being a victim. And then the next thing is survivor. I'm going to survive. Fuck that. I want to be a survivor, right? And then it came to a point where I was like, surviving is exhausting. What's the next step? That's hence why I wrote the book Trauma Thriver, because I want to thrive and not have a unrealistic expectation of myself. If I'm feeling some pain, which trauma is an onion, it's a thing within the thing with the thing. Get a licensed professional. Please get a therapist. I did EMDR that saved and changed my life. I've done years of therapy to get to where I'm at right now. And and I'm also in class. I'm studying to be a therapist. I do all the studies. I have all the certifications just to heal myself at first. And now I'm putting them to use to build a business to feed my family and to feed the world. You know what I'm saying? But at first I wasn't even interested in doing that. I'm an artist. Like, it was music and TV and film for life. That's it. That was the ego. It was so small. It was so small. So it's being learning how to be gentle with myself, how I'm thinking of myself, like learning to be kind with myself and like really tap into that inner Nicole, little Nicole, who I wanted to heal and knew that she deserved somebody that was going to love her up, because she still needs that love today that she didn't get, and that presence and that appreciation and that trust. So I had to heal it. I had to be that person. So choosing that it ain't going to be nobody else outside of me. It has to be me.
Oh, I say that shit all the time, man. Like, it starts and ends with you when it comes to this whole healing journey. And I love that you painted the picture that, yo, you've been doing this shit for 20 fucking years.
Yes.
Like, it takes time, it takes hard work, it takes setbacks, it takes a lot of shit, but know that it
Breakdowns.
is possible. I'm sure you've had a million and one fucking breakdowns.
Yo, but this near death experience, which was 20 years ago, the nervous breakdown was like, okay, that's what got me the hell out of Boston. And I realized, and it takes that stuff, death, tears, not being scared to save my face, worrying about saving my ass, to save face. Now, who cares? Like that Jay-Z line, like, what you eat don't make me shit. Why am I worried about saving my face in front of any human? Like, no ideology, no, 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 no idolizing any humans, because guess what? We all the same.
Absolutely. We all bleed the same at the end of the day. Oh, so good. Okay. So thinking about all the shit that you've gone through, every single thing, good, bad, and ugly, what would you say is the biggest life lesson you've learned about yourself? And what are you most proud of about yourself?
Well, the biggest life lesson that I've learned about myself is to know that, like, I'm always taken care of, that it always works out. Like, if I could go back now, which is a philosophy and value I live by, and in moments of stress and parenthood and wife and entrepreneurship and la la land life, and I'm like, wait a second, wait a second. I think about, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, or I've read a lot of books, and they're people at their 80 or their deathbed who are like, damn, I got it all wrong. I study life. I'm a researcher of life. I'm a scientist of my own life. I listen to that and I'm like, because they stressed and they worried the whole time. And when you get there and you have this, like I've had near death experiences, spiritual awakenings and spiritual experiences, and you realize flowers don't compete like earth. I am earth. We are literal earth, which is why I love holistic healing. And that's like the way I live my life, because it brings it back to the elements, the water, the fire, the air, the earth. And I have been taken care of no matter what, always. So that's security. And I go into fear and scarcity because I have to let go of all my mother and father stuff and generational as the black woman, Afro Caribbean, like European, all that stuff, the colonizer and the colonized, like that systemic racism and decolonizing my mind is something that happens all day long as well. Some days I'm freer because I do have a lot of mindfulness now and I have a lot of peaceful days where my brain is quiet now. And that took a lot of work. So that's the number one thing. And what was the second question?
What are you most proud of about yourself?
I'm most proud of having the courage to love myself and even learn what that truly, 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 truly means. From first thinking it was corny and just being so out of my body and being so judgmental, that's corny, but really inside knowing that it wasn't, but just in my ego doing things just because I was a scared, hurt little girl inside. And I was faking it till I made it because, and it wasn't, I didn't even do, it was just floating through life performing because I'm a rapper, singer, dancer. I was just dancing, performing, doing it. And I got to recreate myself. So finally I'm not running and I'm finally so proud that I am my authentic self. I ain't running from nobody. It's number one, I'm not running from myself anymore. And it's so fucking good to feel free. Like freedom, like Nina Simone says, like, and I agree with her, freedom is freedom from fear. Like having no fear is fucking freedom.
I love that. So I'm curious to know, do you have any regrets in life? Is there something you wish you could have done differently in any aspect of your life?
The only regret I have is allowing my family story to take over and make me a victim for so long because I don't have family. I wish I had nuclear. I have my wife and my son now that are my new nuclear family, but family of origin. I don't have an auntie to call. I don't have an uncle to call. My uncle died. My father died. Like it's just kind of, it's really sad. So it was appropriate sadness and grief that I've gone through in life. I wish that I just didn't let it take me under for so long because I blew a lot of big opportunities. I would say I blew. It wasn't meant for me. But speaking from my pain body and being in my pain body and not being able to be in my wisdom and be in my badassery, even without having the mentors or the family to back me up, which even saying this out loud, it sounds ridiculous because it was so appropriate. But I'm 40 now. If I could go back, it would have, I would have just been into acceptance and chose forgiveness.
Absolutely. So, what is one piece of advice, being the woman that you are today, that you would tell baby Blue?
Just be free. Create, play, dance, sing, and do not criticize yourself. Like, don't judge yourself. Let go. Just don't care what one other person thinks. Create for the joy of yourself and love for the self. Heal your body, eat healthy, drink water. Drink water, mind your business, and don't care about nobody else.
Yes,
Who cares what you
absolutely.
think? Look like a fool, dance like, run around, do all this. Like, I do a lot of improv acting and a lot of fun shamanic dance stuff. Like, just be loose and be free.
And give her a hug and a kiss and tell her you love her.
Yes, every day, every day.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. Okay, so you're on the Watch Us Thrive podcast. So tell me, what does thriving mean to you?
Thriving means, man, truly being in the flow, in the creative flow with the universe for me and being in spirit. Thriving means like my shoulders are chill, they're not in my ears. I'm embodied. I'm owning my voice. I'm speaking my voice. I'm taking up space and I'm doing it unapologetically.
Ooh, that last word is so powerful. Unapologetically, no fucks given.
Unapologetically, honey.
Yes, I love that.
Yes,
I love that so
yes,
much. Absolutely. You are
yeah.
definitely out here thriving. I love it. I love it so much.
I know this is the Watch Us Thrive podcast. I have a new project called Thrive that's on Spotify too. Affirmations for transformation.
I
Yeah,
love that. You see, we all out here thriving.
yes.
I love that. So, what kind of legacy do you want to leave the world? If someone has to
Hmm.
sit down and write about Blue, what do you want them to say about you?
That I'm an amazing wife, an amazing mother, an incredible friend, and I inspired millions of people to break free out of themselves and to evolve and be happy.
That is what you are doing. You are out here killing it. I'm so, so grateful that me and you connected and that you've been able to share just a little bit about you and your story on my show. I know people are going to want to know and learn more about you. So please plug in what you're working on, how we can follow you, your podcast, your book, everything. Let us know.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you. I just want to, thank you and appreciate you for having me and sharing me, saying hello to your audience. And yeah, man, Trauma Thriver is a poetry book I put out. It's available on Amazon, and I'm sure we'll put all the links in the show notes or whatever. Even my link tree has everything. And I have Thrive, like I said, the affirmations for transformation is 11 of the poems put to music and beautiful. I just want to be the light that I desire in the world, and I have a lot of offerings. So just hit me up on Instagram, and I post a lot. Rooted in Power Healing is my holistic page, and Blue Nile World is my artist page. Revolutionary Anecdotes is my podcast. So yeah, we out here doing it. You know what I mean?
Yes, you are absolutely out here doing it. I'll be sure to leave all of your information in the show notes. Blue, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your truth and your story. And I cannot wait to continue watching you grow and heal and thrive and continue helping the community. You are such a powerhouse, and I appreciate you so much for being here.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate you for holding space and having this podcast for people to be, truthful and share, because you're being of service. So thank you.
Thank you.